luck, until one day he gambled all his stored fortune on a single weapon, all or nothing. Now with brains, skill, and a gun that defies the odds, he no longer needs luck to win. But when fortune still decides to smile, his enemies don't stand a chance. One shot, one miracle, and the rest is just cleanup. Can the rarest chance make him unstoppable? Let's find out. This story begins in the dungeon Northern Red Ocean for level 550 and above. Amano Kyohei, the protagonist, was currently fighting a three-headed divine dragon of level 552. It was a boss monster. He hit it several times, causing it to howl in pain when he wanted to strike back, but only broke a rock nearby. MC at this time was already in a completely different place. He jumped back and said that not only is he disgustingly ugly, but he is also too stubborn. Here, in this game, Kyohei's name is Ted. He is a level 559th musketeer. Taking aim, he fired at the enemy with a musket. He covered his heads with his hands in time, but this still did not protect him from the pain. He immediately roared loudly, and MC thought that, as befits a three-headed monster, the sea dragon has three huge heads. At first glance, it is built like a Cerberus. But once you cut off one head, the monster's behavior becomes more complicated. In addition, it becomes stronger and more powerful, which significantly increases the difficulty level. He ate a few bullet pills, which add an unknown percentage to critical hit chance and penetration, and thought he had already cut off one of its heads, but it was too dangerous to continue acting alone. He needed to find another way. When he noticed that streams of water appeared around his opponent's hand, he was very surprised, and then the sea dragon aimed at him and a sharp, swirling stream of water flew straight at him. Fortunately, he managed to react in time and jump to the side. The monster was already laughing, thinking that he had won, but when he saw that there was no body at the place of the blow, he immediately fell silent. Kyohei's voice was heard behind him, saying that it seemed that everything went smoothly. The monster immediately turned to him, and he, standing on its defeated head, put the gun barrel to the other and said that he was only stalling for time, since he wanted to cut off all three heads at once. He grinned and said goodbye to the monster, after which he fired, dealing with both heads at once. He jumped off the monster's body and a system notification appeared in front of him with congratulations. He is the first person in this world who managed to defeat a monster of level 550 higher than him. He received the Lone Hunter achievement, his level increased to 600, and he, sitting next to the body of the sea dragon, decided to take a break. He laughed and thought that they say it rightly, that patience and hard work are very important. However, this is the only outcome, considering how much time and money was spent to defeat him. He even prepared a trap of the highest level, designed specifically for hunting the boss. The taste of deadly poison that you can't find even on the trading floors. And that's not to mention a ton of debuff items, magic buff scrolls, and power-up potions. If you count them all, he's spent about 2 million, overdone it a bit. But if he sells everything here, he'll even come out on top. And most importantly, he got what he started all this for. He got the Sea Dragon Essence, a dark blue crystal that shimmers like it's filled with water and can extinguish any amount of heat. Its drop rate is pretty low, so he's really glad he got it on the first try. He's really lucky today, but for some reason he has a bad feeling about this. When was the last time he was this lucky in a game? A virtual reality RPG that took the world by storm immediately after its release and is still the top in its genre, Fateful Chronicles. He developed quickly thanks to his unique playstyle and understanding of the mechanics. It's been 3 years since the game's release, and he's become one of the top 100 talented players in Japan. He only had one major problem. He was incredibly unlucky. The lands he worked so hard to develop were destroyed by an earthquake event. All of his carefully selected guildmates suddenly got into an accident right before the siege began. After a series of failures, he cut all ties and decided to continue his ascent as a solo player. If he had such luck in reality, he would have already passed away. What the hell is going on? Why is he so unlucky in games? Is he cursed by chance? But today, he will put an end to this bad luck. The information he received this time was really valuable. He went to the Hellfire Mountain dungeon for level 600 and above. Inferno Orochi is located there. It is the boss of the dungeon, and once a year it sheds. During the molting period, he is weak and defenseless as he hibernates, but at the same time, he is covered with an indestructible protective shell like a stone. In short, the molting period is considered to be an indestructible resting phase. But he got information, a way to remove his impenetrable shell and wake up the weakened carcass. He climbed to the top of the cliff and looked around, thinking that this is such a strange place. Then he took out the essence of the sea dragon and looked at it with a smile, saying that he is counting on it. He poured the essence into a huge hole, and when it touched the monster's body, he immediately opened his eyes. Soon the ground began to shake. MC drank some potions and saw smoke coming from the hole. He realized that he was very close. After that, there was a roar. Inferno Orochi appeared in front of him to fight, and his level was 650. He immediately aimed his musket and fired a few shots, after which he thought with a smile that everything was as he expected. Because of the molt status, it can deal damage to him despite the difference in levels. The monster looked at him, then rushed towards him at full speed and slammed his head on the ground. Kyohei jumped to the side and nervously thought, is it possible that his strength and speed remained the same? He took away half of his health, barely touching him. Noticing that the monster was gathering energy in its mouth, he was scared. And then, it shot a fireball at him. Quickly turning over in the air, he shot back, after which a stream of fire flew forward, leaving a depression on the ground. Luckily, MC survived, although half of his cloak was burnt. He thought it was close. If he hadn't dodged it using the recoil from the shot, he would have been fried on the spot. Is the level difference really that big, even though he's weakened? He won't be able to withstand it if he hits him again. He looked at the huge, scorched trail and thought that he would even die on the spot. Considering the level difference, the chances of winning are 30%, at best. He still decided to continue the fight and told the monster to come to him, after which the fight continued. Several fiery trails had already appeared on the ground. Kyohei lay down and caught his breath, thinking that this was his limit. His body was simply not capable of more. He looked at the monster lying next to him. He fought with him for 2 days without sleep or rest, and eventually won against Inferno Orochi, for the first time on the server. After that, he logged out of the game and woke up in a capsule. He stood up and stretched his shoulders, thinking that being in the capsule for 2 days was taking a toll on his body. Now that he had put the loot from the monster on the marketplace, he could sleep. He realized that he had almost forgotten about something, after which he sat down at the computer and uploaded 2 videos of himself fighting monsters. He thought that the number of views, as always, would be small, but at least the future him would admire it. He left the room, hoping that he would like everything. But at that moment, no one could even imagine what these 2 videos he had uploaded would turn out to be, and what these events would turn out to be specifically for him. The number of views began to grow rapidly. Eventually, the video went viral, and everyone began to discuss it. Some guys were sitting in a computer club, and one of them showed him that very video, but he did not believe that it was so viral, since he always exaggerates. But when he saw the content of it, he was very surprised and exclaimed, he defeated the level 650 boss alone? This is not computer graphics, is it? His friend called him an idiot and told him to think about it. It's a 40-hour video. If they made a cut, it would be really good. They paid attention to the author of the video, and the guy asked, his name is Ted, where is he from? And his friend asked, is this the first time he hears about him? He entered this nickname on the internet. It turns out he's a top 100 ranker. The guy said that you can't create multiple accounts in this game. So it's true? But these musketeers do not have the appropriate skills at all to kill bosses solo. Does he have any other videos? As soon as MC gained his popularity, he started hosting live broadcasts. Today's broadcast was dedicated to a hunting guide. He walked to the edge of the cliff and, looking at the monsters below, told his viewers that today they will kill the Ogre King. Usually they walk alone, but sometimes they gather in groups like now, and also smaller mobs stick to them, forming a whole army, so killing them all is quite difficult. So before he provokes them all, he needs to kill at least one Ogre King. He took out his gun and aimed, then activated his killing skill and shot straight at the monster's head. Everyone else immediately turned their attention to him, and he told his viewers that in order to avoid a counterattack while the skill was recharging, they needed to deal with the little ones. He jumped down and started killing the kobolds, while saying that usually the Ogre Kings were just slowly shot at one by one. But when they were all together, they were even easier to defeat. First, you needed to get close to the Ogre King, and while you were dodging his attacks, you needed to provoke another king to attack you. He shot at another monster, and then aimed at the first one, and said that next you needed to immobilize the first ogre that was already attacking. And if you could dodge the blow so that it hit your own kind, the fight would be over quickly. He struck with the help of another monster, after which he increased the distance and said that ogres do not know brotherly feelings, so they attack anyone who causes them significant damage. And while they were having fun, you need to thin out the ranks of the kobolds, and only one Ogre King will remain. He started shooting the little monsters with a smile and announced the end of the guide. His viewers said that he hadn't won yet, and others thanked him for the advice. Meanwhile, a woman named Rudisa was watching his broadcasts. She called her colleague Thomas and asked if he hadn't invited him to appear on the show yet. He told her that he had poor speech skills, so a talk show would definitely not work. She agreed with him. His comments were simple, inexperienced, and clumsy, but he had charisma and skills that compensated for his inexperience. She wanted to get him on their show at any cost. Thomas agreed to invite him and got down to business. Time passed, Kyohei ended the broadcast and sighed heavily, thinking that he never imagined that it would come to personal streams. He thought he was going crazy when he saw how that video spread. The number of subscribers immediately increased 300 times in just one day. Finally, he can say goodbye to his failure. If he succeeds and becomes a top player, then the sweet life awaits him. Someone called him, and he thought irritably, "Isn't this the same manager who offered him to come on a TV show last time?" He told him that he is not ready for a TV show, so it is impossible, but he is so persistent. He answered the call and asked who was calling him. It turns out that CGTV called him with an offer to work, and all because of his recent video. They were impressed by his clean work in eliminating Orochi, and were about to send a group to escort him, but he did not let the person finish and said that he would contact them later. He ended the call and thought CGTV is one of the 7 most powerful and richest guilds. And they really want to hire him? This is just ridiculous. There are 7 guilds that are recognized by the game administration and do business in the territory of the Fateful Chronicles. These are the 7 richest guilds. Among them, CGTV and Alibaba are dominant in China. There is no way these idiots would have tried to persuade him to join them. After that, he went to the market to reveal the cores of the bosses he recently defeated. The NPC said that if you disassemble them, you won't be able to restore them later. And he said that he knows. Can he just silently do his job? After that, the man started working on the cores, and he thought that it was a pity, of course, to lose items that are worth millions, but it was very strange that this guild contacted him right after he defeated those bosses, considering that they specifically mentioned Orochi, and that can only mean one thing. The NPC finished. The cores reflected the names of 2 guilds, CGTV and Alibaba. He was indignant and thought, they got the bosses and marked them. Seriously? Is this legal in terms of the system? He doesn't know why, but they obviously used some kind of trick to mark the boss monsters. And he also killed them, recorded it on video and posted it online. He clenched his fist and cursed loudly, thinking, does that mean both bosses he barely defeated were connected to big guilds? Is this all his bad luck? Shouldn't this bad luck have ended by now? This is bad. The big shots will find a way to track him down one way or another. So what should he do now? He went to his mailbox, filled with messages from Rudy Satvi, and finally decided to write a reply. He didn't notice how a group of players approached him from behind, and then one of them fired an arrow at him. Hearing the whistle, he immediately turned around. Fortunately, the arrow flew past, only wounding his face. One of the players said that he has pretty good detection skills. Why did he mess with their things? He gritted his teeth and thought, are they already here? But they came too fast. What's worse is that they are fully armed and of high class. They all came prepared. The player asked, he knows what he did right? Because of him, they suffered huge losses. The MC asked back, does he think he did it on purpose? They could have put up a sign or a pointer, for example. But the players didn't want to listen to him, and one of them used the skill Hellghoul Hand, which caused many hands to come out from under the ground. They grabbed Kyohei and pinned him to the ground, not allowing him to move, and a player came forward and said that it was not a question, but a statement. The MC looked at him and thought, is that the Dawn Mage, Manhwa? The world-famous ranker from Alibaba is here. Manhwa said that it doesn't matter whether he did it on purpose or not. Kyohei didn't let him finish speaking, showing him his letter. He exclaimed, did he see that? He himself said that his detection skills are good, right? He was right. He found out something here. He knows about Rudisatv, the #1 game streaming service, right? Let him just imagine the commotion it would cause if 2 famous guilds that are quite rich suddenly used illegal methods. Manhwa gritted his teeth in anger, and the MC smirked and threatened them that if they laid a finger on him, he would immediately send this letter. So what will they do now? The next day came, and so did his stream. His viewers were surprised that he started the stream so suddenly, and he greeted them, smiling and telling them the sad news. Unfortunately, this stream will be his last. It's for personal reasons, so let them not ask questions. He decided that Ted would disappear from the world, and remembered that player's threats. He used his skills on him out of rage, and the system informed him that the Death Shadow curse was covering his body. The Hellish Gaze was imprinted on his body, and the Doom Messenger curse was taking over. He became very worried, and Manhwa said that everyone would die sooner or later. He gave him a week, during which time he should get rid of his characters and all the letters. If he decided to resist, he would die endlessly, like everyone around him. He would take care of that. He exclaimed in response, does he think he will just give in and listen to him? If he reveals their illegal activities, then everything will be over for them. Manhwa said that even if he reveals it, everyone will forget about it after a year. But nothing will stop him from haunting him for eternity. The choice is his. Either he disappears, or he and his loved ones are erased by them. He hopes they will never meet again, because that is how it should be. After that he left, but MC was not going to give up. He tried various methods, but the curses did not fall off him. It had been 10 years since he started playing Fate Chronicles with his family. He can't just delete the characters he had leveled up for so long using the same scheme. He opened the system window, intending to delete the character, and thought that fortunately, he was also restrained by convention. As long as he followed the rules, it would not touch his family. He just needed him to delete the main character, right? There was nothing he could do. That was his luck. But he could also create another account. He would just delete this one and start over. He was already an experienced player, so starting from scratch would be easy for him. But the thought made him so sad that he burst into tears, and he thought, is he really going to have to throw away all the fruits of his efforts that he had put in for 10 years? Is this all he can do? Why is it always him? He never has any luck. Black and white is a unique musket rifle, of which there are no more than 1,000 in this world, and they can only be obtained in 2 places. He spent 3 whole years to get this item from an SS-class quest, which consisted of defeating 100,000 undead. It was a real test for someone with such a bad luck. Such a rifle costs 100 million at the auction, but he wanted a new one too much. As long as he has this, he cannot erase his character. He needs to at least give this rifle a decent send-off. After all, this is the fruit of his labor. He must personally finish the job. So, on his farewell stream, he decided to show his viewers the Soul Seal. They became nervous, realizing what he was going to do. The Soul Seal is a powerful equipment upgrade that increases all of its stats by 20%. The chance of successfully upgrading rare equipment is usually only 10%, and in case of failure, the probability of the item being destroyed is 100%. He wanted to try his luck for the first time in a long time. This is the best musket created by the Master Edison. The description says that this is the 9th gun, forged from the shards of the gates of heaven melted by the fires of hell. His spectators said that since he decided to leave, let him raffle off his equipment among them. They did not believe in his success at all, but for him, it does not mean anything at the moment. He will still have to erase the character. He does it to make it easier for him to abandon it. He came to the forge and told the audience that since he has not done anything for them so far, let them at least teach them one last lesson. It is better not to take risks. Now he can retire in peace. He decided to begin, and the blacksmith named Brahman hit the musket with a hammer, and he closed his eyes with tears in his eyes, already saying goodbye to it. Quite unexpectedly for him, the blacksmith let out a surprised sigh and informed him that the enchantment was successful. Not believing his luck, Kyohei took the musket and thought in shock. Did he really do it? All the stats of his gun increased, and a new skill was added: Cloud Reload. The viewers were very surprised, and one of them wrote that this was a direct hint not to end the streams. MC got very nervous and handed his musket to the blacksmith, asking him to use the Soul Seal again. The viewers were surprised, some even started swearing, for which they were blocked in the chat. Kyohei bit his lower lip from excitement and decided to abandon pointless hopes, let it break quickly, so that he could erase the character without regrets. But a victorious sound was heard. He opened his eyes in irritation and thought, is this all serious? Where did his failure go? He asked the blacksmith to do it again, after which he exclaimed that this simply could not be. 3 successful enchantments in a row? The audience was shocked along with him, and the blacksmith noted with a smile that he was quite lucky. He thought, is luck really a thing? Even if it is, he had had enough of it. He just planned to quietly disappear. He wanted to try again, but this time, luck smiled on him too. With tears in his eyes, handing the musket back to the blacksmith, he hoped that this time it would break, but everything turned out quite the opposite, and he thought, what good is luck now? After several disappointments, he decided to stop, and the blacksmith said that he had never seen such a lucky guy. Thanks to him, he saw so many new things. In his entire life as a blacksmith, he finally created a great masterpiece. MC looked at his musket in shock with 7 enchantments already. It is a unique class item. The current value of it is now in the billions. 7 enchantments, all of its base stats have increased by 30% because of it. It's 3.5 times more powerful than the original musket, but even that's not enough. He can't escape CGTV and Alibaba. He can't even win against Manhwa. Creating a weapon with 7 enchantments doesn't change anything at all. He can only sell it, but what's the point if he's going to erase the character anyway? He spent 10 years leveling himself up, sweating in the game since he was 20, and now because of some idiot, he's forced to start all over again? This feeling of emptiness can't be filled with money or anything else. What if he gets an enchantment that can change the situation? He finished the stream and thought that it was okay if he failed, but no one should know about his success, so he got rid of prying eyes. After that, he went to the blacksmith and gave him his gun. As a result, he reached 9 enchantments, and that's simply unthinkable. Once the Soul Seal has been successfully applied 8 times, this gun can no longer be transferred to other hands. The higher-ups step in and buy out the ownership rights. The biggest guilds will fight for the right to own it because now they can build a strategy around this weapon. There are only 8 similar items with 9 enchantments in the world, and they are worth hundreds of billions of yen. He became very worried and thought that an item enchanted 10 times simply does not exist. He knows of 4 attempts, but they all ended in failure. The system reported that his heart rate has reached 200, so he is strongly advised to pause the game and return to it later. If his heart rate really disconnected from the server for security purposes, he tried to calm down and told himself to make a decision with a clear head, as he always does. His character Ted, his youth and his whole life, he doesn't want to lose all of it even in exchange for luck. He needs an enchantment of this level to resist Alibaba and CGTV. For each enchantment the damage increases by 1.2 times. Even 9 times is not enough, he needs at least 32 times more damage. He opened his inventory and took out a potion from there with the thought that his character is more valuable than gold. He will put everything he has into it. The system reported that he consumed a berserker potion. Now for 10 minutes, his neural impulses will be strengthened by 30% and damaged by 20%. The item has negative effects. The character's physical control will be weakened by 80%. Debuffs will be imposed. Rage, physical and mental vulnerability. He threw the empty bottle aside and assured himself that he can do it. Even 18 is not enough, he needs all 19. He approached Brahman and energetically handed him his gun, and he asked, "Is he serious?" His head is already spinning. Kyohei was furious and ordered him not to make him repeat himself. He grabbed him by the beard and told him to shut his mouth and do as he was told. The blacksmith liked his fierce nature and got to work, after which he hit the musket with a hammer with all his might. The 10th enchantment was a success and clouds thickened in the sky, from which a demon emerged. He extended his hand to MC and said that they finally met. They found each other. After the 10th enchantment, which is incredibly rare in itself, the player becomes a legend, and you can also make a contract with a special game entity. The mid-rank demon, Brookshan, offered him a blood contract and said that such an opportunity only comes once in a lifetime. But Kyohei waved his hand away and told him not to touch him when he was busy enchanting. The demon was taken aback by such words and began to be indignant, but MC no longer listened to him and told the blacksmith to enchant his gun again. Of course, the demon got angry at this ignorant man and left. And when the enchantment was successful again, another demon appeared and started saying his signature phrase. But Kyohei didn't listen to him at all and only continued enchanting gun. So he ignored several higher beings at once: the Lord of Beasts, the King of Beasts Liegel, the highest ranked demon, the King of Fire Elementals Ifrit, and the Guardian of the World Tree, Sagaya. The level of the beings coming to him increased with each enchantment, but he didn't care. The 18th enchantment was successful. He had one last time left, and he excitedly ordered the blacksmith to act, after which he enthusiastically picked up the hammer and exclaimed that this was the last enchantment. But as soon as his hammer touched the musket, it shattered into many small pieces, and MC went into shock, and the effect of his berserk potion wore off. As soon as he realized what happened, his face darkened and he wondered what he did. But that's what he wanted. He wanted to break it from the very beginning. What kind of nonsense is he talking about? His 18 charms just disappeared. He rushed to the blacksmith, grabbed him by the clothes, and with tears in his eyes, asked him to give him back his musket. Brahman lit up for some reason. He thanked him. With his help, he was able to expand his boundaries as a creator. He reached the heights of blacksmithing, and this is thanks to him, the favorite of fortune. Kyohei attacked him with his fists and exclaimed, "What kind of nonsense is he talking about? Let him not dare to rejoice at this. His gun is broken." But when he saw what Brahman had become, he was very surprised. Now before him was the god of blacksmiths, the forger of myths. He asked in confusion what was going on here, and Brahman, taking the shards of gun, said that thanks to his awakening, he received new abilities. One of them is to repair equipment fragments with his bare hands. After repairing, an additional enchantment will be available. MC looked at him in shock and thought, is he able to repair equipment broken by a failed attempt at enchantment? Brahman said that even though he is a master, he cannot use this power whenever he wants. After all, repairing something that was completely destroyed goes against the laws of nature and leads them to a place only God knows. Perhaps he can only perform such a miracle once or twice in his life. He gathered his strength, repaired his musket, and put the 19th enchantment on it. He handed the gun to its owner and asked him to accept his deepest gratitude for the opportunity to create this. Trembling with excitement, Kyohei opened the status window and, seeing the new, increased characteristics of his musket, thought, is he not sleeping? Is this a real indicator of his gun? Is this some kind of bug or error? Its attack and range have been increased by 30 times, which is 3 times stronger than the unique 9-enchantment rocket launcher of one American guild. But he has a musket, so the firepower should be twice as fast. not to mention the incredible 90% defense and skill ignoring. Also, the musket now has 6 slots. Can just one weapon have that many? He burst into tears of happiness and thought that he never imagined that he would be so lucky. With a musket like this, he can handle these guilds on his own. Maybe he will even fulfill his dream and get rank 1. At that moment, a rift appeared in the sky and a bright light fell on them. A huge eye looked at them from the rift, and the creature said that he was Shamchon, the liberator of the sun. Brahman said that it seemed like the imprinted soul had come to look at him once. Shamchon wrapped Kyohei's body in fetters and said that, before making a contract, he must enter his vessel. MC asked him to wait and explain something to him, but he covered his mouth and he thought, does he want to enter his vessel? He reached out to Brahman, begging for help, but he just waved and wished him luck. He got angry and mentally exclaimed that this was not what he wanted. Then he was sucked into the rift. He found himself in darkness, and his first thought here was that he seemed to be in space. The system announced a new quest. Shamchon Challenge. Difficulty, S rank. The liberator of the sun summoned him to the Tomb of Paradise. He must do everything in his power to gain his approval. Does he accept the challenge? He thought, if he gains his approval, does that mean he will be able to use the musket with the 19th enchantment? He remembered that player and thought, nothing is free, there is no turning back. Now that he has come this far, it is all or nothing. He agreed to accept the challenge, and then he woke up above the clouds and thought, is this paradise? He had never seen so much free space. When he looked down, he found that the surface here was made of the corpses of monsters. Shamchon appeared in front of him in his form and told him that this was the Tomb of Paradise, the place where he obtained the 6-pointed star. Kyohei thought, is this him? Everything is exactly like him, from his face to his equipment. Shamchon said that those who are willing to fight for the 6-pointed star must rise from the lowest depths to the highest peaks. This power is not for the weak, so let him fight him and prove himself worthy. MC sighed tiredly and thought that he had no idea what he was talking about, but he just needed to defeat him. Luckily, it was not as scary as he thought. At the same time, his clone jumped high in the air and aimed, about to shoot. Seeing the musket pointed right at him, Kyohei jumped back a second before the shot, and Shamchon, turning to him, asked if he could challenge him. MC meanwhile backed away and thought that that move just now is one of his movement skills. 1,000 steps. It is a passive skill that increases the range of the first step taken at the beginning of the fight. He has to admit, not only does he have his appearance, but also all of his skills and combos are exactly the same. Since he doesn't want to give it to him for free, he will force him. He aimed, used skills, causing several magic circles to appear nearby, and then told him in his mind that he will show him the difference between a clone and the original. After that, he fired. Several bullets flew at high speed towards his opponent, and there was an explosion. But despite this, he was still full of strength. MC noticed a shadow trail under his feet, and immediately tilted his head to the side, dodging the shot. The bullet left a small wound on his cheek, and he thought that this is what a shadow fight looks like. They have absolutely the same S-class skills, but how terrible it is to give up the initiative in a fight literally against your shadow. He quickly ran to the side, distancing himself from his opponent, and he began to scour the area with his eyes in search of him. Hearing the sound, he turned around, but Kyohei immediately shot him and a fire broke out. As soon as the smoke cleared, MC disappeared, and his opponent asked, did he decide to hide? This is such an unoriginal trick. Does he think this will help him? In the meantime, he used something, and then shot, and a powerful stream of energy flew at Shamchon. He easily dodged the attack, and said that he knows his skills and level very well. Is he sure he will survive this fight? Peeking out from a cloud of smoke, Kyohei thought that he was so talkative, then shot, but his opponent dodged again and noted that he was continuing to play hide-and-seek. He forces him to end this fight in one shot. While several bullets were flying at him, he attacked back and MC threw his upper body back, avoiding the blow. But then, something amazing happened. His opponent's musket was right in front of him, and he said it was all over. Feeling something, he turned around and seeing his cloak on fire, he thought, was it a trap? Did he lure him on purpose, hoping to catch him off guard? He looked around and said it was not bad, but still not enough to win. He took off his cloak, then picked up his musket and asked where he would hide if he destroyed all his rats' hiding places. After that, he started shooting at everything around, destroying places to hide. He told him to run, hide, cheat, but he would not fool him. It would be all over this time. Shamchon found him, which made him nervous, and when he pointed a musket at him and told him to disappear, MC tied his legs and musket so that he could not move. Seeing this, Shamchon thought, is this a trap again? MC meanwhile took aim and thought that he only needed one moment. This is not a skill but a feint that he developed based only on physical capabilities, and it is called Field of Vision. His opponent smirked and said that he understood everything. All this time, he deliberately gave away his location so that he would be guaranteed to be shot from a blind spot. He tried to break free from his shackles, and at the same moment a shot was fired. In the end, Kyohei was defeated. He was able to injure his opponent, but his blow was stronger. Shamchong smiled and admitted that he was a good vessel, so he, the liberator of the sun, makes a contract with him. Now, they can be reborn from the ashes of hell together. After that, MC was returned back, and as soon as he woke up, he got up with a loud scream. Brahman immediately asked how everything went, and a system window appeared in front of him, informing him about the task completion. As a reward, he received a contract with the liberator of the sun. Kyohei was very happy. His gun was intact. It seems that he spent the luck that he had been saving up his whole life. Finally, bad luck will stop haunting him. He burst into tears of happiness, but the next system message made him come into shock. According to the contract, the reincarnation process was activated. He remembered Shamchong's last words and became very nervous, after which he shouted in rage that they had not agreed on this. All his skills, titles, achievements, debuffs began to disappear. Everything that he had developed for 10 whole years of his life simply disappeared because of some contract. The system reported that he was receiving a title by concluding a contract with the liberator of the sun, the Lord of the Six-Pointed Star. The reincarnation process is complete. Now he is back at level 1 with his initial stats. Naked, upset, weak and poor, Kyohei looked at the status window, and Brahman asked, "What's wrong with him? Where did his clothes go?" MC just looked down, after which the system reported that the user's heart rate has exceeded 250 beats per second. In order to preserve health, disconnection from the server has been performed. Seeing that he had disappeared, the blacksmith became very excited and exclaimed, "Where did he go?" He probably returned to his world, and he wanted to thank him because thanks to him he gained enlightenment as a blacksmith. He engraved a message on his hammer and then left. He doesn't know how soon he will meet this traveler again, but now he himself intends to travel. Although a miracle has happened and he has become a master, his knowledge is still limited. However, he will look forward to the day when he will meet his dear benefactor. To him, who has performed 19 miracles, he wishes for good luck to accompany him forever. Meanwhile, Kyohei jumped out of the game capsule, clenched his fists, and then roared loudly in mental pain. In the past, 3 years after the release of the game company organized a meeting. They discussed the possibility of enchanting a unique weapon 10 times. The man asked if such enhancements were acceptable. The guilds that managed to do this will bathe in glory. His colleagues said that he believed it would take another 5 or 6 years before players would be able to enchant a weapon 10 times. The man asked what the probability was that in 10 years players would be able to enchant a weapon for 15 levels, and he was told that they did not know for sure, but the probability was high. If this happened, then players would go through any new content at an excessively high speed. For this to happen, a hero would need to be found who could enchant his weapon 19 times. They don't think this is possible, do they? His colleagues laughed and said that this couldn't be. If this happened, the entire balance of the game would be completely destroyed. The world has never seen such luck. Currently, MC entered the game and checked his character. He grabbed his head and realized that it was not a dream. All his progress over the past 10 years just sank into oblivion. It would not be so bad if the level was reset, but all the skills and titles were gone. But he still has a musket with the 19th enchantment. With this, he will be able to pump up his level again. He decided to think positively, because in his hands the most powerful weapon in the game. With this, he will instantly return his level and skills. But first, he decided to eat. He left the dark room into the corridor, and when he looked at the front door, he noticed an envelope stuck in the crack. These were some documents. At first he thought that the postman had made a mistake with the apartment, but when he began to read the contents of the letter, his face became more and more furious with each second. Meanwhile, Manhwa came to his guild Alibaba and told the master that, as per his order, the character Ted was successfully deleted. He asked, "Did everything go smoothly?" He confirmed it and added that the tracking spell stopped working. And it wasn't just removed, it was as if the target no longer existed. But it seems he knows that they tame bosses. Even though he cast Oblivion on him, he's not sure if it helped at all. Lady Wangjui told him not to be so afraid. What's the point of thinking about it now? Even if he tells someone about it, who will believe him? Their guild has never directly harmed anyone. The merchant ships destroyed by the three-headed sea dragon just happened to be in its path. And there were simply no high-level players in the raid on it, so all the attackers died. Just a coincidence that happens every day. There is no evidence of their involvement in these events. Lanhua gritted his teeth and thought that maybe he shouldn't worry so much about that idiot. But GV meanwhile asked the master, "Something's bothering him, right? It seems like that snake is bothering him." He squeezed the armrest so hard that he broke it, and confirmed it. She said that the rules of the game were recently revised, making it much more difficult for player killers, but they managed to legally destroy him on 2 fronts at once. Kyohei meanwhile tore up the letter in anger and exclaimed, "Are they deciding to freeze his account because of a lawsuit? Is his video infringing on their rights? First of all, taming a boss is illegal. Who in their right mind would do something like that? What are they even thinking?" But the trial date hasn't been set yet, so their goal is not to win this lawsuit, but to bankrupt him so that he starves to death. He clenched his fist and thought, maybe he should hand over the materials to Rudasat and expose them anyway. He immediately dismissed the thought. They would just pull the strings from behind the scenes again, and it would be no use. What is unknown at the moment is that he has a 19th enchantment musket, and because of the rebirth, all the curses disappeared, so they are convinced that his character is deleted. He stepped on a torn letter and exclaimed in rage that if they wanted a war against an inveterate loser, then they would get one. He returned to the game and first disguised himself as a teddy bear. Ted is a common nickname, so no one will care about this. But he was still upset. He got a super enchanted item, although he expected it to break, but he had to sell all his epic equipment to at least have something to live on. He can't wear them anyway because of the level reset. He noticed a hammer nearby, emitting energy from itself, and took it. He immediately realized that it was the Brahmin hammer and thought, why is it here? He read its message. In it he thanked him for his help, but he still lacks knowledge and experience, so he goes to Tom Gray, so let him look at him when he has time. MC put the hammer in his inventory and thought that this NPC received the masterclass thanks to him. Maybe he should look at him when he levels up. There was a loud sound. Someone jumped out of the bushes at high speed. It was a level 1 horned rabbit. Kyohei immediately took out his musket and aimed, then fired. He was already glad that he was able to kill it, but when the rabbit looked at him upset and ran away, he was very surprised and he exclaimed, "Are they kidding me? He can't even kill a level 1 monster in one shot? He has such a cool gun, so what's the problem?" He opened the status window and started to look for the problem. It was all because of his title, Owner of the 6-pointed star. His current progress rate is 0.1%. The boost will increase as Shamchan's level increases. It can be equipped with 6 skill spheres from D rank. When using a weapon equipped with a skill sphere in battle, it will gain experience points and can evolve a total of 4 times. When replacing the skill sphere in the slot, all experience points accumulated in it will be lost. He thought, so he will become stronger if he increases his level? By the way, the description of these skills looks like cheating. A skill sphere is an item that allows you to use skills that cannot be acquired within the selected class, and each skill from the sphere can be improved. In other words, this title allows him to pump absolutely any skill to the maximum. He laughed quietly and thought that with such strength, he will not only trample this Chinese guild into the dirt, he will soar to the top of the rankings. He spread his arms out to the side, laughing loudly, and then decided to level up a little, and only then choose a profession. Meanwhile, in the location Deep Eagle Forest for level 10 and above, screams of players were heard. 2 guys ran in horror from the monster and the mage asked, "He is a tank, right? Let him distract this monster." He exclaimed in response. He saw how it dealt with a high-ranking player with 1 blow. He himself is a mage. He can just hit this bird with something stronger. He exclaimed in response, "Is he kidding? He already spent all his mana protecting him." At that moment, something fell in front of them with a crash, and they slowed down. It turned out to be a guy from their group. His body began to disappear, and the tank trembled with fear, and then the mage's scream was heard. He turned around, but only his hat remained. Because of this, he became even more nervous and decided to run away from here as soon as possible. But then something fell on him from above. It was the body of his comrade. It crushed him, and when he looked up to the sky, he saw that very monster, a huge eagle, who was going to finish him off too. The system window reported, the location is Deep Eagle Forest. The recommended level is 10 and above. MC shot the eagle, which squeaked loudly. He said that this way he will quickly regain his level. He adjusted the bear's head, and the system window reported that his level has been increased. The current level is 7. Kyohei looked at it and said, only level 7, and the damage has already exceeded 300 units. Seriously, what kind of cheat is this? Suddenly, he heard a loud scream and looked towards it. Dark smoke was billowing not far from him, and MC asked, "What is that?" He sighed and said, "Yes, the main highlight of this location is the white-necked eagle." He thought that it attacks everyone indiscriminately, be it an ordinary NPC or a player. Even when the creature is full, it will tirelessly pursue its prey. The players ran away, and MC thought that the eagle itself did not have much health, but its mobility, wild aggression, and speed in flight. It was a real pain in the ass for beginners. Kyohei looked at how the eagle grabbed the player and said how much he himself suffered with this creature. At one time, it got him so much that he took revenge on real pigeons. He took aim and said, "Well, the time of reckoning has come." The players disappeared, and Ji attacked the monster in the wing. The creature turned around and screamed loudly, heading towards a huge burnt hole in the tree. Kyohei attacked the creature again, but in the second wing. It grabbed a large log and flew even higher, when suddenly MC attacked the paws. The creature dropped the log and injured its paw, after which MC struck again. The eagle looked around and screamed loudly, and after a while it flew down to the ground, squealing loudly in pain. Kyohei came out of hiding and said, "What a thrill." His stealth level had also increased from being in an ambush, so he decided to prolong the pleasure a little. The creature itself had brought him to it. The eagle looked at Kyohei with its pitiful gaze, after which MC struck. After a while, MC opened the system window and asked, "So what do they have here? 22 white-necked eagle feathers? Will this recoup the cost of the ammo he spent on the creature?" Kyohei was delighted and said, "Well, the quota for today is fulfilled. Is it time to choose a class?" After a while, MC approached a wooden building and said he hadn't been here for a long time, Shiboli Musketeer Academy. He knocked and thought. Once the head of the academy offered him to become his student, but he immediately refused. But it's never too late to change your mind, right? A man peeked out from behind the door and asked, "And he?" Kyohei said, "Good afternoon. He came here to receive the musketeer class, but..." The strongest musketeer specialist, Raiden, asked a question. "A traveler, right?" MC thought about it. The title specialist is the third in the musketeer class branch, right? That means his level is above 500. But who is he? He said, "He came here to change his class to musketeer, and who is he?" Raiden grabbed his head and answered, "He is the current head of Shiboli Academy." He put his hand in front of himself and apologized, saying that they are not accepting students at the moment. Please let him apply to another academy. Kyohei shouted loudly, "What? Isn't the master of Shiboli in charge of this academy?" He thought it was he who offered him to become his student. Why did they suddenly change the master? Raiden started to close the door and said, "It's none of his business." He asks MC to leave. Kyohei grabbed the door and asked him to wait. He was Baron Shiboli's disciple. Well, more precisely, a candidate for his disciple. He asked to tell him what was wrong with him. The Baron offered him to become his disciple, but due to circumstances, he declined his offer that time. However, they remained on friendly terms, so Raiden grabbed him by the clothes and lifted him into the air. He screamed loudly, "You bastard!" Did he think of talking to him? MC thought in fear, why such aggression? He said that he didn't understand what he was talking about. Raiden screamed, "On friendly terms? If so, why doesn't he know that Mr. Shiboli disappeared a few years ago?" MC widened his eyes in surprise and thought, "What? Baron Shibolu disappeared?" Raiden threw out MC and shouted if he was sent by the idiots from Special PA, he should get lost right now, before he personally finished him off. Kyohei shouted, "What kind of Special PA?" Raiden pointed his finger at him and said, if he dared to lie or bring up his master's name again, he would rip out his filthy tongue and make sure his demise was slow enough. MC clenched his fist and thought, but it's true. He didn't really value the connections of the past, but he definitely didn't deserve such treatment from a man who didn't even know him. He said, "The 40 exam." Raiden stopped and asked, "What?" Kyohei stood up and said, "The way he spoke about the Baron indicates that he was his junior, right? The 40 is still held at this academy, right?" Raiden frowned and said, "It seems like he really did study here. But why would a person who has completed training come here again to get a profession?" His actions are extremely illogical. MC stood up and offered him to just test him. He wants to take the exam. The 40 exam. According to the game's lore, it was created by Baron Shiboli himself out of boredom. This exam is only held at this academy to obtain the musketeer class. MC showed all 10 of his fingers and said, 10 copper coins, 10 bullets. He has 10 seconds to hit from a distance of 10 meters. The essence of this exam hasn't changed, has it? Raiden replied, "No. It seems he is really studying here, but he can't believe that the master is offering him to become his student." Kyohei said, as he already said, he can back up his words with actions. In turn, he will receive the class he wanted. Raiden turned away and said, then he will prepare the examination ground. He needs to pass and wait a little. MC followed him in and thought, it's problematic of course that Baron Shiboli isn't here, but they're happy with what they've got. Each academy gives different skills upon graduation. For example, here you can get the skill 1000 steps. The system window reported, the skill 1000 steps is a passive skill that increases the range of the first step taken at the beginning of a fight. It is active only after 5 seconds of preliminary standing still. The dash range will increase by 0.05 of a meter for every 1% of the musketeer class mastery. MC thought, due to the characteristics of the class, requiring high mobility and distance, this is simply a necessary passive skill. For comfortable further pumping and obtaining skills, he needs this passive in class. He looked to the side and thought, This is the gunsmith Renaro. He waved his hand and said loudly. They haven't seen each other for a long time. Renaro, it's him, Ted. Renaro passed him by and didn't answer. MC thought, what's wrong with him? He's been working for the Baron for years. How could he not recognize him? Maybe it's because of the bear's face? Raiden loudly ordered him to move. After a while, MC reached the place and thought the training ground was really worn out. Maybe the reward for getting a class also changed? I wonder where the Baron went. Raiden folded his arms and said, for a fair exam, he will be given a musket from the armory. He will repeat the rules of the exam. If from this place he hits 10 coins 10 times, in 10 seconds from a distance of 10 meters, he can consider the exam passed. He can start when he's ready. Kyohei took aim and thought, what the hell? What's up with the scope anyway? A quality weapon is part of the exam. And how can you consider this fair now? He called out to Renaro, who didn't react at all and thought, what? What an idiot. He gave him such a musket on purpose. Raiden peeked out from behind him and asked what was wrong with it. He bragged so much about passing. Where was the fuse? MC replied, before they started, he needed to clarify something. He fired towards Renaro, who ducked even more and screamed in fear. Raiden asked, what was he doing? What kind of barbaric behavior was this within the academy? He decided to wait a second. He was aiming right at Renaro's head, right? Aiming from such a distance and not hitting. His musket was faulty. He extended his hand and said, Traveler, he will replace his weapon right now. It's better not to do that again. He widened his eyes in surprise and asked, what? Kyohei aimed and thought that from the muzzle of the musket to Renaro's head, there were about 1.5 meters. If you take into account the position, then the error from the left is 15 and from the top 27 units. To hit the target accurately, it is enough to aim to the right and lower. Raiden opened his mouth in surprise and thought, it can't be. He hits the coins, even with the aim knocked down. MC said, 10 seconds have passed, so what? Is this worthy of the highest score? Raiden answered, yes. He thought that it was not only a matter of good shooting. The reload time of the explosive magical engraving inside the musket is exactly 1 second. One wrong move, even with an error of 1/10 of a second, will cause a misfire and the shooting will be delayed. And he knew all this, having calculated everything so that each bullet hits the second per second. He's definitely a level 10 rookie who doesn't even have a class. Raiden clapped and said, he's never seen a musketeer do so well on the exam. He smiled and said, he admits he clearly has talent. No wonder the master was interested in him. He'll get everything ready for the class change right now, he just needs to wait a little. MC spread his arms out in different directions and said he's counting on him. He smiled and thought, that was close. The last coin was fluttering in the wind, and he barely touched it. He would have died of shame if he failed the exam, deciding to pass it on pathos with a terrible weapon. The terrible stupid wind almost ruined everything for him. And now, suddenly he called out to Renaro and knocked him to the ground. He asked, what, did he lose the coin? Why is he pretending not to remember him? He slipped him that very scope. Renaro said that he hated him. It was because of him that the Baron disappeared. Their academy was on the verge of closing down because they hadn't produced any famous adventurers for a long time. The Baron was desperate to get him as a student, but he brazenly refused him and left them. The Baron decided that it was his fault and that he needed to strive for greater skill. After that, he disappeared. Kyohei let him go and asked if that was a reason to give him a broken musket. Renaro replied that he knew from the beginning that it wouldn't stop him from passing. He couldn't just sit back. He was his master's only hope, and he treated him so heartlessly. MC looked down and thought, considering everything the Baron had done for him, he could understand why he was so angry. But he was interested in the ranking back then, not additional training. MC grabbed his head and asked for forgiveness. Renaro said that there was no need for an apology. He'll leave them again as soon as he gets a class, right? He held out the box and told him to take this. Kyohei took it and asked, what about this? Renaro said, before leaving the academy, the master handed him this and told him to give this gift to Ted if he came to see them. He even felt sorry that he had to give it to someone like him. MC thought, even though he was angry, he wanted to fulfill his master's will. Despite the fact that he was an NPC, they had emotions and feelings embedded in them. Renaro said, since he would continue his journey, he might meet the master. If he met him, tell him that they were waiting for his return. Kyohei asked to forgive him for everything, and Renaro said, no, he messed up himself. He'll probably go. MC looked at the box and thought, now he was really interested in what kind of gift such a mischievous person like the Baron could have left for him. He pulled the ribbon and said, it's time to check. He widened his eyes in surprise and said, it's the same. A bright glow appeared from the box and MC said, it's a skill sphere. The system window reported that it was a D-rank single skill sphere. MC screamed, he was so lucky, it's a single skill sphere. He thought about it. Single skill spheres contain skills that are not found in the standard skill tree, and thanks to his title, even weak skills can be developed, making them even stronger. The system window reported, the title is Owner of the Six-Pointed Star. The progression speed of this is 0.1%. The game will increase as Shachan's level increases. It can be equipped with 6 skill spheres from D rank. When using a weapon equipped with a skill sphere in battle, it will gain experience points and can evolve a total of 4 times. When replacing a skill sphere in a slot, all experience points accumulated in that slot will be lost. MC thought a single skill combined with a 6-pointed star can be developed in a way that has never been seen in the game before. Just what a future ranker like him needs. Kyohei shouted loudly, Baron, thank him very much. Activate the sphere of a single skill. The system window reported, Skill Sphere, Goblin Summon. Activated skill type uses 50 units of mana. Cooldown, 1 hour. He can summon 3 normal goblins of level 30. Duration is 30 minutes. You can increase the levels of goblins with hunting superiority. MC asked again, what? Goblin summoning? The weakest monsters? Maybe there is something else besides the sphere? Well, anything. A package fell out of the box and Kyohei asked, a letter? He began to read. Idiot, did he seriously believe he would leave something valuable for him? Let him consider it his little revenge for leaving his academy. If there are any complaints, he will wait for him in the city of the Ash Sky. MC laughed and then tore up the letter and screamed, what a moron. He will kick his decrepit ass when they meet. After some time, on the location of the Sauron Plains, where the recommended level is 20 and above, there were goblins. They looked around and struck the players. The knight screamed, Healer, is she sleeping or something? The girl ordered to let her concentrate. He must hold them back. Does he even have an idea how many times today she has completely healed him? Suddenly a bullet flew into the goblin's head and the knight screamed. What just happened? A sniper? The healer screamed in irritation. Who dared to steal their experience? MC was sitting on a tree and saying, God, how many days has he been sitting like this? System window reported that his level had been increased to 59. Kyohei said, of course he is glad to level up, but this is a task. The system window reported. It congratulated him. He was successfully assigned the musketeer class. 2 new skills are available to graduates of Shibboleth Academy. The passive skill, Musket Master, and 1,000 Steps. Some time ago, MC screamed, no way. Raiden grabbed him by the shoulders and told him not to say that. He's one of them. A musketeer of Shibboleth Academy. MC said, he just wanted to get a class and do other things. He already has plenty of that. Raiden screamed, all he needs to do is visit the Sauron Plains. He dragged after him and said, he's a traveler, he'll be passing by anyway. MC thought, the Sauron Plains is a low to mid-level location. It's a place where you can quickly farm yourself a level. But why should he help this idiot's academy? Raiden said, recently people from the Sauron Plains started complaining about a strange moving black cloud. Any information he could get regarding this cloud would be very helpful. The system window announced that a new quest was available, Raiden's Alert. Raiden of the Shibboleth Musketeer Academy had asked him to investigate a strange phenomenon in the sky on the Sauron Plains. Would he accept the quest? MC replied, on one condition. He introduced him to the Thieves clan. He wanted to create a hybrid thief musketeer class. He thought about how thieves and similar classes didn't have their own academy, so it was difficult to learn. But a thief had something that MC would definitely need in the future. Raiden cleared his throat and said, that wouldn't be difficult. He would contact the Thieves clan, and he was supposed to get him some valuable information. Kyohei extended his hand and said, shake. The system window announced that the quest had been accepted. MC was currently thinking, of course he was angry at the Baron. But he had no idea what this city of Ash Sky was. Maybe along the way in this quest chain he'll be able to find it. He took aim and said, and now? Suddenly a guy flew into the goblin and stabbed him in the body with a sword. MC said discontentedly, and this is not the first time this has happened. Who are they anyway? Wait, is that a camera? Streamers it seems. MC thought, and he had to stop streaming because of threats, and as a result he is forced to hang around here. Okay, calm down. No need to take out your anger on them. He will not get anything from killing players, only lose his reputation. All that remains is to squash the last monster, and he will have level 60 in the pocket. He aimed the sight at the huge monster when suddenly he stopped seeing anything. He questioningly looked away and asked, where did it go? In front of him stood a huge monster which blocked the view. MC thought sadly, an inflatable doll? Why is it that now, when he is hunting, these streamers have nothing to do and they use all sorts of entertaining nonsense? Maybe he should just squash them so they don't get in the way? No, he's above that. What's more important now is reaching level 60. Inflatable dolls started appearing from different places, after which Kyohei grabbed his head and said, no, he changed his mind. He took aim and said, it seems like there's a whole line of dummies lined up to get hit. An inflatable doll grabbed a goblin and screamed, Bulbury-san, thanks for the donation. For their sake, they'll give these guys a bloodbath. At that moment, the inflatable doll burst and another player asked, "What's wrong with him? Why did he burst so suddenly?" The player replied, "There's no point in picking up monsters. The monster pierced him and he stupidly died." An idiot, in a word. Then a shot hit the players and the others screamed, "What's going on?" The player screamed, "There's a sniper here. They need to run." Where to run? They're on a plane. It's everywhere, in full view. Someone shouted, "They need to get out of the inflatable dolls quickly." The system window reported that MC had increased his level. Now he is level 65. A murder of players was committed. The crime index is 700 points. MC smiled and said, "How nice." Finally, he killed those annoying insects. Their levels seem to be over 150. The penalty for dying in-game is a week-long ban. The index is only 700 points. It's not that bad. MC smiled and said, "Here it is." The system window said he had been concentrating for a long time, which strengthens his vision. The additional status, Vigilance, was formed. Does he want to use it? Kyohei said it was a very useful status, especially for his formed. Does he want to use it? Kyohei said it was a very useful status, especially for his class. MC pressed the button with the answer, yes, and asked, "So will he continue?" He started shooting at the players and then said with a puzzled voice, he would never have thought that this status would increase his damage so much. He didn't aim at them on purpose. Who cares, as long as the experience points are dripping? Suddenly a system window appeared in front of him, and MC asked, "What's this?" At that moment, Cherise slammed his fist on the table and screamed, "What does that mean? The entire group from the first sector was killed?" The player asked the master to forgive him in fear, and Cherise screamed, "And they don't even know who killed them? How come no one could see him?" The guy stood there, looking down, and said, "It all happened so fast. It must have been a sniper. That's why it was hard to pinpoint his location. Because the first sector is a plane, the players couldn't dodge." Cherise said, "The killing of the rubber doll players was a deliberate attack and not an accident. Maybe it's the sniper from Nightwalker? Still, a sniper who killed a group of 7 level 200 people must be at least level 400. He threw him a small bag and told him to take it. The guy said, "Master, it's this." Cherise replied, "Whoever he is, he's a threat to their plans. Let him use this." A multiplayer game that took over the world. Chronicles of Fate. Most of the Japanese players settled in the Kingdom of Charon, Sauron Plains, the largest hunting grounds for beginners. After a while, MC appeared in the Kingdom of Charon in Sauron County. He frowned and said that going back and forth takes a lot of time, so he wanted to come here after finishing the Raiden quest. Kyohei poked his finger at the system window and asked, "So what did he get?" The system window reported that a new skill, Mosquito Bullet, is available to him. Title, Agile Sniper. In 10 days, he shot about 10,000 monsters. However, his crime index is too high, apparently because he shot players too. He is a marksman, but at the same time not the most law-abiding player. 10% bonus to health, a new skill, Mosquito Bullet, is available. MC asked again, "Agile Sniper?" This is the first time he sees such a title and skill. He thought, although he understands, the developers could have easily introduced this for those who are so crazy that they can kill 10,000 monsters in 10 days. The system window reported, the skill Mosquito Bullet is an activated skill. Cost, 100 units of mana, cooldown 10 minutes. Mastery level 0%, synchronization coefficient 0%. The health of the target affected by the mosquito is transferred to the player. The higher the mastery level, the better its synchronization. The higher the synchronization coefficient, the more accurately he can direct the mosquito bullet. The damage of the mosquito bullet is 10% of the player's damage. The speed of health absorption is 50% of the damage. MC asked again, "Health steal?" As much as 50% of the damage. At the moment, he has about 8,000 damage, it turns out. With 5% of health, he will be able to heal about 400 points per hit. Yes, that's half of his total health. How lucky. He doesn't have to worry at all. Suddenly, spears were put in front of his face, and the system window reported, "Attention! The guards don't trust him. His crime index is too high. His current crime index is 4,700 points." Kyohei grabbed his head and said, "Well, I guess he'll go, huh?" He walked away from the gate and thought, it's better not to stick his head out for now, since the index is so high. MC turned around and saw 2 guys pestering a boy. He asked, "What are they doing?" The bandit ordered him to stand still. One mistake and he'll lose all his items. The boy screamed in fear and the system window reported the Outcast's magic book. This is a magic book that allows you to forcibly reveal some of your information to other users. Information is being processed. Name, Binpan Emponpon, and level 22. Occupation, Musketeer, crime index 0. The guy said discontentedly, "Another weakling." He ordered Binpan to get lost before he slapped him. The bandit sat down at the guy's feet and said, "He said from the beginning, it's useless." "And why are they doing this?" the guy asked. "Does he think he likes it? Cleaning up after idiots who didn't even notice who killed them." He looked away thoughtfully and asked, "Does he see the guy at the gate?" The bandit answered irritably, "Oh my god, come on! They've been standing here for half a day, inspecting everyone who enters the city." MC thought, "This scroll, does it reveal basic information about the player? Who are they? Are they from CGTV or Alabama?" The guy asked, "When will this guy show up?" The bandit answered, "Who knows? He said that he will definitely be here today." Kyohei thought, "No, if these were guys from those guilds, there would be a huge group here. He better get out of here before it's too late, since he can't sniff them out." Suddenly, he ran into the guy and screamed really loudly and then fell to the ground and cried out in pain. The guy asked for forgiveness. He hasn't been here for a long time. He was distracted by the map and didn't look where he was going. "Is he okay?" Before he could finish speaking, he stopped and looked at MC's gun. He helped him up and asked, "B&W?" MC was scared and thought, oh my, he had completely relaxed, believing in his disguise. He didn't think that they could recognize his gun. Did he come for it? The guy screamed, "He must be a big Ted fan, right?" MC looked at him puzzled, and Lone screamed, "Come on, stop being modest. He is one of the most famous musketeers. His musket is an exact copy of Ted's gun. He must have spent a lot of money to get it." Kyohei said, "Well, thanks." He thought fearfully, so he didn't recognize it? Maybe he should tell everyone that his musket is just a copy of the original Ted gun? Lone frowned and said, "But as a Ted fan, he wants to warn him. It's better not to linger here." MC asked again, "But why? Did something happen?" Lone cleared his throat and replied, "Special PA." "So, does he know anything about the Paprika Special Offensive Group?" Kyohei thought about it. When he streamed, he was not particularly interested in other content makers and colleagues in the industry. He answered, "Not really." He mainly sat on Ted's streams. Lone laughed and said that he understood him perfectly. Special PA is a Category B guild that has gained huge popularity due to its peculiar content. For example, on streams they make criminals out of NPCs using fake evidence. MC answered with strong disgust that this is not a guild, but a gathering of freaks. Lone put his hand to his lips and said, "According to rumors, a group from this guild was broadcasting on the Sauron Plain and one musketeer shot them all." MC looked at him puzzled, and Lone said, "It seems like the guild leader took this as a declaration of war and is now hunting this guy. He didn't see anyone there, by the way." MC thought, "It's about him, right?" He started waving his arms and shouted loudly, "No, he didn't see anyone or anything." Lone said, "Except for the guild members, there was no one on the plane. That's why no one caught the criminal. But they are looking for him now, although in his opinion, it's a waste of time." Bandits from the guild pestered every player, and Kyohei thought fearfully. And again, luck did not stay with him for long. "We should get busy with missions and leveling up," he said. "If they continue to scare people, other guilds will not stay on the sidelines." Lone snapped his fingers and said, "That's right. He forgot to say why else he shouldn't stay here." They attacked the Nightwalker Guild yesterday, and a serious battle broke out between them. MC asked again, "What?" Lone replied, "Well, these two guilds have been in conflict for a long time, and this incident served as a trigger. Special PA are convinced that it was Nightwalker who sent a sniper to their group of streamers. But they could not expect a direct attack from Nightwalker, so the guild suffered significant losses. They usually keep order, being a kind of knights, but even they were not ready for something like this." Suddenly, MC shouted, "Log out." The system window reported that user Ted had logged offline. Lone looked around in confusion and asked, "Did he really say something wrong?" Horror. He finally found a player with similar tastes and apparently said too much. Suddenly there was a scream. He was there. Lone turned around and asked, "What do they need?" The guys asked, "He was the mercenary hired by the master, right?" "Right." Lone asked, "Why did they come out to meet him?" The guy answered, "The master asked to make sure he arrived in the voice." Lone screamed, "Horror, he forgot to call him." The guy looked away and said, "The master has high hopes for him, because this is a very important mission, but as he thinks, he does not inspire confidence." The other guy ordered him to shut up, if he values his life. "This kid is a rancor." Lone dialed the master and asked, "Hello." The master asked, "Did he get to the county of Sauron?" Lone answered, "Yeah, he just arrived. He just needs to kill the target, right?" The master ordered him not to do anything for now. He gave his subordinate a magic bag. He will be on backup. He can manage without it. Lone answered, "As he says." The system window reported that this musketeer is the strongest hunter of Moonlight, Lone. His level is 551, and he also ranks 231 in the rating table. After a while, MC typed in the search engine, "Special Offensive Group Paprika," and said, "Stream date, channel news." Here it is. A fight that the guild was involved in. He thought that the Special PA was already on bad terms with the Nightwalker Guild, and this sudden attack finally escalated their conflict. Special PA claimed that it was Nightwalker who started the fight by killing their group of streamers. Several members of the Nightwalker Guild were injured. Based on their code of neutrality, The guild members did not provoke further conflict and decided to retreat. Why was it always him? Kyohei grabbed his head and thought, if he does something insignificant, he causes a massive problem. Nightwalker is—
Thanks for watching. I'm going to introduce the new manhwa in different voices. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. And if you want to see a specific manhwa name in the comments, I will try to make it.